Hi, this is Donna. Welcome to DD Paper Crafts. In today's video, I'm making a magic cube. You may have seen these on the internet with photographs on them. However, the difference with mine is that each of the 8 cubes is a functioning and opening gift box. So the cube works very much like this, so it can all rotate in various directions. And eventually you will get back to the beginning. The boxes are taped together in a way that means that at some point, as the cubes are manoeuvred, you will be able to access each of the 8 gift boxes. So for instance, this one opens here, this one opens here, this one opens here, and this one opens here. My cubes are 1.5 inches square, and I've made them this size because I'm only making one project, and this means that I can get 2 cubes from one sheet of A4 cardstock. But obviously you can change the sizes of your cubes as you so need. And having made this, I was thinking if you made 3 sets of these and added advent numbers onto them, it would be an interesting, fun, and something a little bit different as an advent calendar. The cubes obviously come together relatively quickly. The trickiest part is possibly the taping, but I have tried to break it down and make it as understandable as possible. So let's put the project together. For the cubes, if you want to make them the same size as mine, you'll need 8 pieces, which are 6.5 by 5.5. Along the 6.5 inch side, score at half, 2, 3.5, and 5. Rotate. The 1/2 inch section is at the bottom, and score from top to bottom along the 5.5 inch side at half, 2, 3.5, and 5. Keep your piece in this orientation, and then at 1.5 and 4 inches we're going to score down to the first score line, so the one which is level with 1.5 inches. Then we'll rotate 180 degrees, and then we'll score at 1.5 and 4 down to the third score line, so the one which is level with 3.5 inches. So your piece is going to end up looking like this. There'll be 8 of these. We're going to fold and burnish along all of the score lines. So the piece is in the landscape orientation, and I've got the 1/2 inch tab over on the right hand side. We're going to start by cutting up along each vertical score line, cutting through the first horizontal up to the second horizontal, like so. Do that all the way along. So you split this into 5 sections. Just rotate so the cut sections are on the right hand side. We're going to cut up the first additional score line, like so. Leave this piece as it is. We're going to cut up the next additional score line, like so. So this bottom piece looks like this. Then I'm going to rotate it and work from the other end and completely remove these 2 sections. So that's one side. We can repeat that on this side. So this is our cube. This section at the end, this is the lid and the lid flap. These 4 smaller sections, 1, 2, 3, 4, these are the glue tabs. And this section here and this section here is what's going to sit in the top of the box to then support the lid coming down. So I'm going to take a wedge from the ends of each of the glue tabs, and I'm also going to shape the flap which is going to sit inside the box. So that's that side. Let's just cut that score line away. So rotate, do the same on this side. I'm then going to round off the corners of the lid flap, just because that's my preferred look. And then finally, so my lid flap is at this end, I'm going to use my circle punch and cut a very, very small section away, just so that you can get your fingernail in to get the box open. So we can now stick our cube together, and we will add glue onto these tabs, this one at the same time. So each of the 8 cubes are going to be made exactly the same way, and the most important thing is to make sure, or to try and ensure as near as possible, that your cubes all end up the same size, because that's going to help the movement of the piece. So that's our cube. These 2 flaps will come in and the lid will come down over the top. And you do want the lid to sit nice and flush and snugly, because obviously it's going to twist around, presumably with something inside it. So do make sure that your lid fits down snugly. So there will be 8 cubes. And we're now going to start the taping process. I'm going to make this as simple as possible. So we'll start with 2 sets of cubes, like so, and you want to have them so that your notch is facing the outer edge. Or if you haven't put a notch in, you want your lids on each to open like so. So your lid is going to open to the outside on this set, and then your lid is going to open to the outside on this set. Now, obviously, I did have to work out the placement of the opening, because the tutorial I saw was a magic photo cube. The boxes didn't actually open, so I needed to make sure that the boxes are going to open where we're not going to need to put tape. So this was my prototype, some out of date stock cubes which I found in the cupboard, which I've then taped, which has allowed me to make sure that the opening of the boxes is going to be in the right place. If nothing else, you can't say that crafters aren't creative. I'm going to use red liner tape because I think that is going to give me the strength that I need. The magic photo cube that I saw, she'd actually just used normal sellotape type tape, and I did use that for the prototype. I did use sellotape, and that has held up quite well. So the key for this is we want to make sure that as we do any sticking, we're not going to be interfering with the lid going down into the box. So I'm going to keep the lids open so that even if the lid is sticking slightly proud of this side, I know that the tape is not going to interfere and then stop the lid closing, as it were. So we're going to start by securing and adding tape across the join here where the 2 boxes meet, like so. So that's our 2 boxes joined. Then we're going to flip the boxes over so that they sit like so. So the lids are now facing towards each other, like so. This is the tape here. So the tape is under there. And we're now going to tape this side. So we've joined our 2 boxes together, and we're now taping them over the tape that's on the underside. So here's my tape on the other side of this seam. Hopefully that will make sense. Make sure your boxes are staying lined up and square. Tape over this side. So that's our first set of boxes. We've got tape here, flip it over, and we've got tape there. So that sits like so. So we're going to take our second set of boxes where the notch or the lids open in this format, and we're going to add tape to join the 2 boxes together. I'm just going to spin it round this way because it's easier for me to work. Make sure that your boxes stay lined up. So that's those two. And now we're going to flip the boxes over. So here's my tape where this finger is. Flip them over in this orientation. So my lids are now facing each other. You can see my tape there, and we're going to add tape here. So we've got two sets of boxes which are the same. We're going to take the next set of boxes, and these, I've got my notch here and the lids are opening this way. I'm going to tip those up over so that the lids are at the bottom, and we're going to put tape along this section here. I'll just turn it in that orientation so it's easier. We're going to flip it over. Here's the tape. Flip it around like so. You can see the seam for the tape, and we're now going to add tape across here. So what we're doing is we're adding our tape, and then we're reorientating the boxes so that we're taping on the other side of the same join seam effectively. So that's those two, like so. And then we can take our last two boxes and we're going to do exactly the same. So these are going to sit lid down and the notch is facing me. I'm going to add tape along this join here, flip that over. There's my tape in between, and join up the other side. So we've got two sets of boxes. You can see I've marked the lids, and these are joined like so. So these two sets are joined so that if they were facing in this direction, the two notches would be like so, and the lids are going to open out like this way. So set those on the table with the tape at the bottom and the lids pointing outwards. So this one is going to sit with the lids at the top like so, and this one has got the tape at the bottom and the lids are going to sit outwards like so. Here's the lid, that's now facing me. So they're going to sit like that. Then you'll have these other two sets. I've marked the lid. These are going to sit so that the lids are facing towards the middle. So the tape is going to be on the outside edge, lids towards the middle, like so. So tape is on the outside edge here, lids are towards the middle. So the boxes are lid, lid, lid in the middle, lid in the middle, lid in the middle, lid in the middle, lid, lid. So we're now going to do our next set of taping, and we're going to join this box here to this box here. Again, make sure your boxes all stay lined up, like so. So these two boxes are now taped. I'm going to do the same this side. So we're going to take this top right hand box to the second right hand box. So those two boxes are joined, and then we're going to come down and we're going to take the third box down to the fourth box on the left and the third box down to the fourth box on the right. So it will help if you mark your boxes with where the lids are. So that's that side done. Just go over that again before we swap this over. These two end boxes are joined together at the bottom. You can see the tape in there, and the lids are at the ends. These two middle boxes are joined together on the outside edge. There's the tape. The lids are towards the centre, and then these join onto these two end boxes. And these two end boxes, again, taped at the bottom together, lids towards me. Okay, so we've now got our boxes taped along the bottom and then 4 sets of tape at the top. We're going to flip that over. We're now going to, if I move this one back, you can see the tape that we've just added there. So we're now going to tape across and across to double secure that. So put the boxes in whatever orientation you're going to find easiest, and at all times just be aware of where your lid is and make sure that you're not putting tape where it's going to interfere with your lid. So you want your tape to stay within the width of the box. So that's that one. I'm just going to spin that round to make it easy. So that's those two. So they're now secured along the bottom and along the top. So we're now going to do the same at this end. So this is what we've just added. We're now going to secure those on the other side. So I'm going to flip that one back. So on one side you'll have two boxes which are taped horizontally, and if you flip it over you'll have your tape is running vertically between the two boxes, and then you've got the two end boxes either side which are joined together. So this is the Magic Cube. Ready for decoration however you so choose. Now the process with this is obviously because of the tape and the glue, your squares or your pattern paper is going to cover the entirety of your square. There's not going to be a border because otherwise there would be gluey tape showing. So when you cut your pattern paper, you want to cut each one to 1.5 inches squared, and then add your pattern paper into whatever format you so choose. So I'm going to add my pattern paper on, and then I'll come back and we can see the final piece. I've now decorated all of the sides, so you can see I've got 8 fully functioning boxes. The trickiest thing I've found is I've had to try and recut the notches. It's just something to be aware of. So let's close this up. Now obviously you could decorate yours as 2 blocks of 6. So decorate this side, decorate the ends, and then flip it over and decorate that side. And in fact, if you've seen some of the Magic Cube photo projects, that's how they've used the 8 squares to create one picture, as it were. But I've done mine as 4s. So I cut myself squares of paper which were 3 inches square, 1.5 inches, and then each into 1.5, and I've added them on to create the image. So it's not precision engineering, it's not perfect, but it is fun and it's perfectly functional. So if we turn it, so you can see we've got another side there, we've got another side here. Oh, this lid has popped out. Just pop that back in. We've got that side and this side, and you can see it functions as a Magic Cube, like so. So a really fun project. Hopefully I've made the instructions in terms of where the tape is added as simple and understandable as possible, but there are other tutorials. If you type Magic Photo Cube tutorial into YouTube, you will get other videos come up. But there we have today's project. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. If you haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to the channel, and until next time, thanks for watching.